defend that belt and take it home and knock him out to make a statement.
And for you, Choc, obviously been a professional athlete since, I think, 93. I think Mick was born in 92. How do you feel, having someone who's, basically been alive for as long as you've been competing?
I was going to say, bro, when I was world champ, when I became world champ beating Antoine Eccles in 2003, it was shit and yellow. You know what I mean? It was shit and yellow. Now you just bring to my attention, this bloke wasn't even born. You know what I mean? Like,
There should be no.
It wasn't even born.
There should be no problems.
Well, a bloke that's when I started my career, and he wasn't even born. And now I'm about to pump him on the 13th. Once I pump him, what's that make me, bro? You know what I mean? And it's never give me the credit. They never give me the credit until I do shit. You know what I'm about to do.
Man, Zerafa.
On March the 13th, 2021, in the Bendigo Stadium in Bendigo, Australia, Anthony Mundine, at 45 years old, he turns 46, May the 21st of 2021. 45-year-old Anthony Mundine is going to be taking on a very tough, strong, I guess you can say, he's approaching his prime. He's way better than he was when he got sparked out by Peter Quillen. He took Hell Brook to hell and back. If you want to ask me, he has Jeff Horn's soul, 27-4 with 16 KOs, 28-year-old Michael Zerafa. I am TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. Got my colleague Big J on the line. Jay, I'm afraid for Anthony Mundine. I've been following this guy for years. The first Anthony Mundine fight I watched, or I got a hold of, it was on like a VHS tape. What's going on with this fight? Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, like I said in our first video on this topic, it's just an unnecessary fight, even though I did speak to Mick Zerafa a while back now. And he did a very good job of justifying why he's fighting Mundine and not someone else. But the more you look into it, the more you you sit there and you just shake your head going, why is this happening? I mean, Choc is well past his prime. Hasn't won a fight in... He knocked out Tommy Brown 3 years ago, just a touch over 3 years ago in January 2018. After that, Jeff Horn knocked the daylights out of him in a minute and a half, and then John Wayne Parr beat him up, knocked him out of the ring in the fourth round. So what makes Choc think that he could even come close to beating Michael Zerafa is just an anomaly. It's a mystery to me. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you just don't know what to say.
I have the interview right here, right now, but I'm a wait and just upload it with Mick Zerafa, because I guess what I'm saying is one video that me and Big J are going to be working on, and we've been talking about, is should there be, now take Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, out of the mix, but when it comes to certain fighters, when you have a certain amount of losses on your record, I'm guessing, can you explain it, from your side? Like how you explained it to me about the 10 losses, and especially with the age factored in?
Well, I mean, if you look at Mundine's record, okay, he's 45 years of age, and he's lost 10 fights. And some of those fights, I mean, you look at the...
4 by KO.
Fight against... Yeah, the Jeff Horn fight, the Charles Hatley beat down. Who was the other fella that beat the daylights out of him in Newcastle? Clotty, yeah, Joshua Clotty beat the daylights out of him. At what point does boxing go? I mean, because these combat authorities, obviously they're different for every state and country and all. At what point do they go, okay, mate, you can't fight no more. You're 45 years old. You haven't won a decent fight in, he lost to Charles Hadley, he lost to Danny Green, even though most people say,
the Sergey Rabchenko fight, he wasn't expected to win that fight. I covered that fight.
No, he wasn't, and that was probably that was his last great win. I'm not taking nothing away from Tommy Brown, but Tommy Brown you know, ain't going to win no world title at 154 anytime soon. Well, a world title, a major world title. He'd probably be lucky to win an IBO title. He's won a few minor ones, but he ain't going to win no, major title at 154 anytime soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's like, and the thing is, I think that this Roy Jones thing, as we popped up, is that all these fighters who are in their 40s, some of them pushing 50 are going, I can go one more go.
Yeah.
But Tyson and Jones are on the same level. Both men are in their 50s, and it was just a glorified sparring session. Nothing was going to happen. We all knew that. It was just a sideshow alley attraction, just something for a bit of fun.
But in this case, it's a 28-year-old going against a near. He'll be 29 by the time he steps. Oh, actually, he'll be 29 a couple of weeks. According to BoxRec, Mick Zerafa will be 29, a couple of weeks after the fight. But I'm just saying, the point I'm trying to make is there's a 28-year-old, 29-year-old going in there against a 46-year-old.
Yeah, and a 28-year-old in his prime that's a battle-tested fighter, not
Yes.
not a glorified journeyman or a walking punching bag like some of these other fellas that are getting around. I mean, if you look at the card actual of the fight, there's two gentlemen down the bottom of the card that have absolutely shocking records. Ray Ingram is 1,
and John Ming,
and 20, and John Ming. John Ming, I looked at his record the other day. This bloke's been knocked out 22 times. How in God's name is this bloke allowed to fight? He's a walking punching bag. 22 stoppages. I mean, Ray Ingram, to his credit, has only been stopped once.
And he's 45 years old.
Yeah. I mean, John Ming is not a young man. I mean, Ray Ingram is. I don't think he's that old. But at what point do we go? Okay, mate, you can't fight anymore. Because the Americans, to their credit, if you get knocked out, you get suspended for 3 or 4 months or something like that. Or sometimes they suspend you indefinitely. You can't fight in that state again. That doesn't happen. I mean, at what point do boxings need to go? Okay, mate, we need to start protecting our fighters. You can't fight no more because you're never going to become. I mean, these guys are never going to become world champions. They are just punching bags for, upcoming fighters. Which is horrible. I mean, these guys are putting their lives on the line, their health on the line for what, a couple of $1,000 if they're lucky. So, yeah, I don't know.
Sadly, I see, and I've been a big supporter of Anthony Mundine for years. One of his, I don't know if he's still a part of the team, but a guy by the name of Ben Thompson used to work with him. He has a clothing company with Mundine, or he was associated with what's called Boxa, Boxa. Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is, I see Mick Zerafa putting a boot in his ass. Mundine, his legs are gone. He's too slow. This kid's going to come and hit him with some shit. And I hope the referee don't let it go. Listen, I want the referee to give, I don't like early stoppages, or anything, but I want the referee to really pay close attention because this shit don't look right.
Well, I mean, it's the funny thing is for this, and I'm actually a little surprised, is that most of the social media hatred is aimed at Zerafa, not Mundine. I was surprised at that. I thought everyone would be going after Mundine saying, why are you still doing this shit crazy thing?
No, because they're looking like you're beating up on the elderly.
Well, that's pretty much the way it is going. They're going like, well, Zerafa is the one that is making himself look worse than Mundine. All the negativities towards Mick Zerafa, surprisingly. So I was taken a little bit back by that. I thought, okay.
I mean, I understand the fight game, so I kind of figured that was going to happen. That's just, I figured that was going to happen. Despite what Anthony Mundine, reputation is. They're looking at it like, this is just a cash grab on an old man. Like, that's how, let's keep it 100. That's what fans are saying. Like, you can't, fans are not stupid, especially in the social media age. They're going to tell you the truth.
Oh, exactly. I mean,
they're not them fans on social media. They don't sugarcoat shit.
Yeah. I mean, we're concerned for Mundine's health. As I said in our previous video, the Mundine curse. Even if you win, your career falls apart. So, You know, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the other video on this subject. It explains it in detail what happens if you beat Mundine. Things fall apart shortly afterward. So, yeah, it's just crazy. And, I mean, it's not just Mundine that's getting back into the ring. As we said, Sam Solomon at 47 years of age after a two-year inactivity period is coming back on the same date in New South Wales. Ebony Bridges is on that card. Who's Sam fighting? Hang on, let me bring it up here. And he's fighting, I believe a guy is called King something. Let me just bring it up. I mean, Sam hasn't fought
King Davidson.
years.
Sam Solomon
King
is
Davidson.
back fighting in the Bankstown, Bankstown Paceway, Condell Park. He's fighting
I think it's a western suburb of Sydney is where it's going to happen. So Bankstown's a western
King
western suburb of Sydney.
So his name is King Hand of God Davidson.
Yeah, I believe he's from Nigeria, and he's got a record of 20-3. But if you look at his record, he's only won against guys who have terrible records. You know, like 1-11, 2-25 or something. Yeah, he can only beat guys with terrible records. So Sam's getting back into the ring with a journeyman? If you could, that's probably being generous.
That's listen, no disrespect to the fighter, but yes, whatever is lower than a journeyman, a circuit fighter or whatever.
Yeah. Well, a walking punching bag. Sam
Solomon is 46-14.
Exactly. I mean, Sam Solomon, to his credit, and I've said this many, many times, won a world title, his maiden world title, IBF middleweight, at damn near 40 years of age. It's an amazing achievement, right? And I'm pretty sure, off the top of my head, I think he's the oldest person to ever win their first major title at that age. I don't know anyone else that won a major world title at 40. Well, not their first one.
I'm pretty sure I did a video on Sam Solomon losing to Derevianchenko. I'm pretty sure I did a video. This guy is still a...
Yeah, I mean, I can't... I thought Sam was long... After he fought his last fight, which was Mark Lucas, which was 2 years ago when he got back his WBF middleweight belt, I'm pretty sure he said in the post-match fight or in a publication that, he's done. He's had enough, because he was chasing the fourth fight with Mundine, and it didn't eventuate. So, I mean, and similar to Tyson Jones, if they did have a fourth belt, I mean, they're both around the same age, it would actually be a draw if they did an exhibition thing, if it was a novelty sort of thing. But I don't know, you just scratch your head. I mean, Sapio Binka's also coming back after a 3-year inactivity period. He hasn't fought since 2017, October of 2017.
Sakio Binka.
Coming at the end of this month. And he was a beast back in his day. He was an absolute beast. I mean, people may remember he won the 3rd season of The Contender, the Stallone reality TV show. He actually fought Sam Solomon in that series. They fought twice. They won a piece. So
I covered his last 4 high-profile fights: Marco Antonio Parabon, the 2 against Anthony Durrell, and the Adonis Stevenson one.
Yeah. I mean, Sabio Binka was no pushover. I mean, he would take people to hell and back.
But he ain't fight since 2017.
Well, here's something funny. Remember, I wrote an article on this. I think it was 2019. He was going to fight Nigel Benn at one point.
I remember that. And Nigel Benn would have got it. That was bizarre. Nigel Benn would have got his ass put to sleep.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you look, Nigel hurt his shoulder during training.
I remember that now. I remember that.
Yeah, because I wrote an article on the
I remember.
360.com, because I was in, this guy, actually, I think there's footage of the press conference.
I did it. I remember. I covered it.
He hasn't felt... Yeah, he's 50 years old, and he feels great, and he's still boxing. I'm like, yeah, okay, let me tell you a true story, people. Age catches up with us all. It's actually not age, it's inactivity. Let me tell you a real story. When I was 35, I was in the military, and I was playing rugby league for the Army team. Now, I hadn't played since I was 22 years old. So it was a 13-year gap. Yes, I was fit. Yes, I was strong. Yes, I was in shape for a 35-year-old. But I hadn't played rugby league in 13 years. What do you think happened to me when I played that game? I lasted 5 minutes, tore my pec off the tendon, had to have surgery, and now I've got debilitating injuries for the rest of my life. So these guys need to know when to stop before they get hurt.
Yeah.
Because I am living proof that sometimes you need to swallow your pride and listen to your wife, like I should have, right? And go, I'm too old for this. I've been away from the game for too long. I don't need to prove this because I don't need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to walk away because if you don't, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get permanently hurt, like I did. I have to walk around with a great big hole in my chest for the rest of my life, which looks pretty cool.
Well, luckily, this Adam Stowe guy, 6'2" and 2 with 4 Ks, the guy that Saki Obika is supposed to be fighting. Let's see how he looks. But see, the thing is, what are you fighting this fight for? To try to get to another championship? No, it's gone. It's done. And, you know, they're seeing these celebrity fighters, these YouTubers. They're seeing Mike Tyson and Roy Jones do what they're doing. So that's why you have, you know, all these fighters. And they're like, wait a minute, I can come back. Until, God forbid, somebody gets really hurt. And then, you know, I think they should put an age limit on. You know, I mean, you know, especially if it's not going to be no headgear. You know, I get it. Sometimes old men want to get out there, you know, old boxers want to get out there and spar. You know, just like some old basketball players, old football players want to get out there and kick it around. They know they can't compete on the level that they were when they were younger, but they still want to, like, kick the ball around, you see? So, you know, but to go out there and say, all right, no headgear, I'm going to go ahead and have a real fight against a young fighter, end up getting your ass hurt. Like, no, and then you're going to have all these media people writing stories, and it's like, for what? You shouldn't have been fighting them in the first place. Family crying and people blaming, oh, you let them in there. You shouldn't have been there in the first place. Mundine should have hung it up.
The other concern is, as I said, the losses. When does the commissions and all these the boxing authorities or whatever they're called go, okay, well, if you lost too many fights, you're done. There's got to be a cut-off there at some point, because if you've got a record of 2-20, you're never going to be a world champion.
Yeah. And basically, you're out there taking damage. You're getting beat up. You're losing every fight. Constant head trauma. You know, your brain smacking against your skull.
Exactly. Well, not just that. You know, liver damage, kidney damage.
Exactly. You're a young person's punching bag.
Exactly. Well, you're just anyone's punching bag.
Yeah, anyone's punching bag, pretty much. But the young guys, they're coming out there, you know, if you're facing a 5-0 guy and you're 2-12, you're facing one of the top Olympic prospects. You know, he's coming out there to try to put a boot in your ass to get a KO on his record.
Exactly. And you're making what? $1,500?
Barely, yeah, if that.
$3,000?
And then you still got to pay your team and pay taxes off of that money. So what? You made $300.
Exactly. $300 get your ass kicked.
Yeah, you get damaged.
That's crazy. It's crazy. I really think they really need to start taking care of these guys, because, you know, the hardest thing being a professional in anything, soldier, football player, whatever, is knowing when to stop. And I'm living proof. Sometimes you need to know. You can swallow your pride and go, yeah, nah, don't do that. Because if you don't do it, you'll end up like me and have debilitating injuries for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so real quick, we gotta since we're running short on time, we gotta run through the card. So we already talked about the main event. What have you been hearing about the card so far? The co-feature, I have it pulled up here on BoxRec. What's the fights to look out for?
Oh, on the Mundine fight, definitely Shanika Johnson versus Shannon O'Connell. That is going to be the fight of the night, without a doubt. I believe, even though it's not on Box Record, I've heard it's supposed to be for the WBA Gold Bantamweight title, because both those girls, Shannon's dropped down. Actually, they both dropped down to the Bantamweight division.
Okay.
It's like virtually the number 2 female in the country versus the number 3. People can argue all they want who's number 2, number 3. You know, clearly I always think Susie's number 1, Shannon would be number 2, Shanika would be number 3. So this is going to be, you know, Shanika's undefeated. She's 13-0. Shannon's come back, has a couple of good wins. She's been out. She was out for about a year or so. But she's had a couple of, she's won a couple of minor world titles, had a couple of cracks at the big time. So she's a well-endowed professional.
I know. I'm looking at her resume. She's got a whole, she's got a lot of names that I know that I've covered. Helen Joseph, Honmi Choi.
Yeah, she is the real deal, Shannon
Kiss.
O'Connell. Absolutely. Absolutely. As I said, the only person
Acuna,
that beats her is
Joseph.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
accomplished.
Oh, she's accomplished. Yeah, I said the only fighter that beats her is Susie Ramadan. It's the only person that beats Shannon O'Connell for resume. So, and Shanika's well on her way. So she's a New Zealander that's been fighting here. To debut, she moved over here to Morocco, I think, and she got fights on her resume. Not on the line as Shannon, but it'll be a fantastic bout. I really think I've got the clear advantage over this. But Shanika's young, Shanika's undefeated, up and coming. I think that will be the fight of the night. That's in my opinion, anyway. I think that for one fight alone would be worth the trip out to go and see it, or worth the televised thing on Epicenter TV, just for my mind.
All right, the next fight to look out for, I guess, is the Blake Capriello versus the Faris Chevalier.
Yep. I think he was trying to fight someone that he fought before. I don't think this is the guy. I think this guy's been a replacement, if I remember correctly, or I could be wrong. Let me just have a look.
The name doesn't sound familiar.
Record?
Yeah, the name doesn't sound familiar.
No, I think he was trying to fight someone that he fought previously. I can't remember his name. And I think, well, obviously he's been replaced. So that's just to get Blake back into the run of things. So because he was supposed to have a world title fight back in late 2019, but his opponent hurt his hand a week out before the fight. So there'll be another get back into the stream of things for Blake. And the rest of the card, I'm not familiar with anyone on it, to be perfectly honest with you. So,
all right, well, there we go. I guess we'll find out on fight night. Now, here in the States, I'm going to go ahead and say that we don't know if this is going to be televised here in the States. It's not looking likely, but I'm going to try to find a way to watch the fight. I'm going to find a way to watch the fight. But over here
it's on a streaming service in Australia, so it's not even being televised here. It's on a streaming service. It's the only way you can find it. Epicenter TV, that's it. It's the only way you can get it, is my belief. So
let's see, how it looks the closer. This is one of those type of fights for the American viewers who are interested. This is one of those fights where we probably won't know until fight week that whatever network picks it up. It'll be like, we'll get a press release saying whoever picks it up. So I'm going to be watching very, very closely. And of course, the promoters and, the people who put together this event, definitely want a U.S. TV deal. So I'm pretty sure they're probably working on something because Chalk is normally, outside of a couple exceptions, is normally televised here in the States. So closing thoughts, Big J?
I just hope no one gets hurt. I mean, there's high risk of people, not just Mundine, but the other two guys, really getting hurt. So I don't want to see that. So hopefully it goes off better. I think I would just be focused on the Shanika versus Shannon fight. That's going to be the pick of the bunch, without a doubt. So hopefully all these, Sam, Sapio, Mundine, they all get through unscathed, and then they realise enough's enough and call it a day. So because what have they got left to prove? And seriously, when's enough's enough? So I know it's hard that you need to call it a day, but seriously, guys, you all need to call it a day.
All right, well, this is TstreeT Controversy and Big J with FightView360.com. Take your time out to please like the video. I'm going to put our social media information down below in the description box. Once again, take your time out and like the video. We're going to be back very soon. As you can see, we're pumping out more videos. And with the boxing season officially starting and upon us, I am here full time. This is TstreeT Controversy with FightView360.com. Please subscribe.